we have so many nurses that have been jobless in Kenya. They have been tamarking for the longest time. These nurses are willing to work. They are very hardworking.
Yes.
And they are willing to work extra hard. So when you find a nurse working for almost 7 days in a week,
I'm telling you. Hello, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Neema Quest, and I'm your host, Maria Neema, and you are on the mic with Neema. Guys, welcome, and make sure you subscribe, you like, share, and comment. Guys, we are on a series. Our journey from the UK, our journey from Kenya to the UK and now in Australia. Guys, we did our first episode, and if you've not watched that episode, I'm gonna put the link below down here. The first episode was our journey from Kenya, and we talked about how we started our journey in Kenya, and then we went all the way. And at the moment now, we are in episode 2 where we're gonna be talking about our experiences in the UK. And without further ado, guys, let's dig in. And I'm gonna be with my guest. High five.
oh
Uko
yeah,
fiti?
niko fiti. I want to just welcome our guest to Neema Quest. This is YouTube channel that is promoting, sharing information in regard to the migration of nurses from Kenya to the UK and finally to Australia. But more so to enlighten people. That is the most important thing. To share information, and when this information is utilized by these individuals who are willing to migrate, who wish to migrate, then this particular information helps them to migrate and to transition. In other words, to make them understand the do's and the don'ts of migration.
Umekuja kama umeenda. Ai.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
We're happy to have you here. Feel welcomed. At least leo tumekupea
Thank you.
maji. Last time ali complain. So you have water, have a cup
Thank
of,
you.
it's not
Thanks
a
so
cup,
much.
have a glass of water.
Thank you for the
And
water.
enjoy. We are here for the information, guys. Remember, guys, it's a disclaimer that whatever information that is put out here, it is our experiences and our opinions, guys. There's no judgment. And if you need more information, please, you're free to search and research and get information elsewhere, including here, so that when you're making your decision, you have a you have a broad-based, yeah.
Exactly. So, what are people saying in terms of inviting them? Is it subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell? Is that what you are telling people?
Iko sawa kabisa. Uko fiti kabisa. You are inside. You have said it the right way.
Thank you.
Yes, I
Thank you
can't
so
add
much.
more than that.
Thank you. So, I want us to refresh for the people who had not watched our first episode, just to tell them that be vigilant. Take note of where you are getting the information. Be very careful with the people who are giving you pressure to pay some amount of money,
Yeah.
and then to help you migrate. Who is helping you? That's the first question. Have these people been able to migrate,
Before,
or
yeah.
have they helped people migrate? So do your due diligence
Yeah. Si
before
tuliskamiwa.
before
We
you
were
start.
scammed, but
Yeah.
we
So I just
managed.
I just saw other people are saying that was very little money, which I agree in
Was it?
relation to
Hakuna pesa kidogo.
in relation to millions of shillings that people
No,
have
pesa ni
been
pesa.
conned.
Pesa ni pesa
Yeah,
because
people have been conned
inaweza kuwa ni
millions.
pesa kidogo kwa like kwa huyo mtu, but kwako ilikuwa pesa mingi because you didn't have that money. You took a
Of course.
loan.
Of
You took
course.
a loan to get that
Yeah.
money. So there's no pesa ni pesa. Whether it's 10 shillings, 5 shillings, someone else doesn't have that money that you have. So money is money. Does
It's
not
true.
matter.
It's true. So
Yeah.
we are now transitioning from Kenya to England.
Now we are in England.
We are now in England.
Yes.
Na kuna watu walikuwa wanauliza when you are going to England, kuna people asking, what are you packing when you're going to England? How is the flight to England? Are you allowed to carry unga ya ngano, unga ya mahindi? Can you please tell them how you found it when you are flying for the first time?
Umefika kwa channel umeweza kuuliza maswali na mimi ndio
No,
host.
that's what people asking.
Ah,
It's not me.
yeah.
People want to know. People want to
Our
know.
dear
Yeah,
guest.
I think I'm no
Me,
longer a guest.
you are a guest. We are a
Okay.
guest.
Okay,
Utaki
I have
kukuwa
to.
guest. When you guest.
I don't want to be a
Anyway,
guest anymore. Yes.
even before we get there, it's important for because remember this journey, nurses are really interested to know because you're a nurse and tulifika kama umefika UK, si ndio? Before hata tufike kwa kubeba maunga na manini, it is good for you to let our people know, especially the nurses that are coming. Like how was the reception for you by the people that were taking you to the UK?
While the process was smooth because this particular hospital had prepared everything. They are very good hospitals, by the way, in the UK. And some of these hospitals will pay for your ticket, just like I had mentioned. They will go ahead and get a taxi to welcome you to the UK. They will also go ahead and prepare for you a place to stay while you are in the UK. So the transition then becomes very smooth.
Okay.
Because they will be in contact with you via emails, send you your ticket, tell you that someone will be waiting for you, and then after that, prepare for you a place to stay. Then that becomes a very smooth transition. That is one good thing that I saw happening when I was moving to the UK. However, you will notice that there are some who are not going to do for you all these things. What does that mean? That means that you will do all these things for yourself. You are going to book an air ticket. That is after you have been granted a visa. So it's a chronological of events. Start with getting a visa. Once you have the visa, then you will go ahead and look for the air ticket. There's different airlines that are flying to the UK. So you will run through their prices, your preference, and then book an air ticket, which then you will be able to fly to the UK. And I'm not so sure, but when you get to the UK, you then must have prepared yourself beforehand that if someone is not going to pick me up at the airport, how am I going to find myself or navigate through the busy airports, through the train station, the Piccadilly lines, the Metropolitan, the Circus line, all those, and it can be very confusing because you are coming from Kenya with the mentality of matatu beba.
I know.
And when you get to Heathrow Airport, you get to these big airports and you don't have somebody to pick you up, then it can be very stressing. But prepare beforehand. If you have a friend, let them come and pick you up, and then they will be able to help you. Because remember, when you get to the airport, you'll have to buy a SIM card. Your Kenyan SIM card will not work.
Even before we get there, now arriving to the UK, what people should expect once they've arrived to the UK. The reason why I asked you this is because there are people that go to the UK as nurses, but they work in care homes. Not everybody is going to work in the hospital. There's some people that have gone to the UK, but they're going to work in the care homes. So do you have any idea of how their process is so that you can also let our people know? I feel like it's good to have this background because we are not talking about the UK. Before we get deep into now the lifestyle and our experiences, it's good to put that information outside there because not everybody goes to the UK as a nurse working in a hospital. Some people go to the UK to work as nurses, but they go to work in the care homes. So if you have that information, it would be good for you to share with our audience.
So let me take you back a little bit. when you're looking for a job in the UK as a nurse while still in Kenya, you have got different options. You can go to the UK as a mental health nurse, which of course you must have done the CBT, mental health CBT. You can fly to the UK and work as a care home nurse, which again you must have gone through interview process as a care home nurse. You can as well go to the UK as an NHS nurse working in hospitals. So when you're preparing yourself as a care home nurse, I've not been working as a care home nurse, but I have been doing bank shifts or agency shifts with care homes and such kind of places. It's more or less the same in terms of the transitioning process, because once you go to the UK as a care home nurse, then of course you are going to get paid better in terms of remunerations. They're much better. They're paid much better as compared to NHS nurses. Secondly, as a care home nurse, you will go ahead and prepare for OSCE. Remember, there's an exam that you will do when you are in the UK. There's an exam that you are going to do when you are in the UK, which is OSCE exam, the practical exam. Most of the care home nurses that I've interacted with have mentioned to me that there was no proper arrangement with the revision and getting yourself ready as in relation to the NHS nurses. I remember very well as NHS nurse, we were prepared. We had a lab, we had a skills lab where we went for rehearsals, we went for training before we did the exam. But a care home nurse, these nurses, you'll find yourself that you are the only one going to that care home, or you are two of you. They will tell you that prepare yourself, book the exam for yourself, and then go to the exam station by yourself. In NHS, most of the NHS, they've got a skills lab, they've got a trainer, they will organize your transport to the exam center, and they will pay your transport to the exam center. They will facilitate of all these things. So those are some of the differences with the care home nurses, NHS nurses. Yeah.
Good. So another thing is, what is the difference between a nurse that works in a care home and a nurse that works in the hospital? Do they have different responsibilities?
Yes.
Because there's that expectation when you're going to a new country, especially back at home. Mostly nurses work in the hospital. It's gonna be a first experience for a nurse who's going to work in a care home from the experience of working in the hospital. So the question is, what are they to expect when they go to work in a care home as compared when working in a hospital?
So when you're going to work in a care home, be prepared to work more hours than those working in the government hospitals. The average hours you'll be working in a government hospital is 37.5 hours in a week. That is equivalent to 3 days in a week. And in 3 weeks you'll be working 3 days, and then in one week you'll work 4 days to make the total amount of hours covered. That's 7.5. But in care home, I've heard people mention that they even goes to 42, others to 44. It depends with the demand. In care homes, there's serious shortage. So when you go there as a RN nurse, you will work more hours. Remember, there's better money in care homes. They are paid better.
Can you quote like
in NHS? I think we're getting paid 13 point something. But in some care homes, they can give you up to 19 pounds per hour, 20 pounds per hour. There's some care homes. As they give you this 20 pounds per hour, I want you to know that you are going to work seriously. There's a lot of work. From the beginning of the shift to the end, there's a lot of pressure. You have so many residents, you may be looking after 40 residents alone. You are giving them medications, you are doing dressings, you are receiving phone calls from their relatives, you are receiving all these other visitors coming into the facility. So basically, you are like the manager of that facility, and you may be one or two nurses in a shift. So the assistants or the healthcare assistants working alongside with you, they'll be asking you questions. How do we do this? How do we do that? You find that in a shift, you may not even have enough time to go for short breaks. You may not have enough time to receive your own phone call. You can imagine. So you will get money, yes, because that is the only way they attract nurses. But most of these care homes do not retain nurses, most of them, because once a nurse lands there, they find the work is too much,
Hostile.
and then there's a lot of hostility. They decide to move to government hospitals. In government, vis-a-vis in government hospitals, these government hospitals, you have your breaks. You've got your tea break, you've got your lunch break, and some of these hospitals, you've got your evening break. Remember, you're working for 13 hours, a long shift. You start at 7:30 in the morning, you end at 8:30 in the evening. So it's a long day. That's why you're working 3 days. But you got your break.
So, so you'd say that there's better support system in the NHS
Exactly.
as compared to working in a
Exactly.
care home. So when a nurse is wanting to migrate to the UK, would you recommend them to go as a nurse working in a care home or a nurse working in NHS? According to your experience, and also according to what you've heard other nurses saying, because it is true, a lot of nurses move despite of the money that they get in the care homes. Most nurses, once they've settled in, they moved from the care homes and they go to work in the NHS despite of the amount of monies that, the money differences that are there.
So let me say that when you're working in care home, we have established the fact that you'll get more money.
Yes, yes,
That is for a fact.
yes.
The average salary in NHS hospital, especially band 5, grade 1 or level 1, when you're starting band 5, you may get £2,000, 1,800, £2,000
That is when
per
you're
month.
starting.
That is after tax. When you're starting, that is band 5 nurse, £2,000. It can go to about 2,200.
Let's give,
Band 5 when you're
let's
starting.
do, oh wait, that's
When you're starting, I'm just saying entry level.
Entry level.
You may get up to £2,200 per month. While on the other side, a care home nurse is pocketing close to 3,000. So you can see the big difference. The other side you're getting 3,000. This other side you're getting up to 2,200. But a care home nurse is working more in terms of hours, while an NHS nurse is working less in terms of the number of days that they are covering.
So what about,
So,
sorry, okay.
number 2, and then which we also need to tell our viewers, is that you have now landed in the UK. We are now discussing life in the UK.
As
We
a
have
nurse.
already we have already gone now to working with. Are you working in care home? Are you working in
In a hospital.
a hospital? How is it? We are now discussing how is it in the UK in terms of working as a nurse. And we have started with remunerations, salary. How are the salaries?
Yeah.
We have already told people that these are the average ranging from this to this. Secondly, as a care home nurse, remember you have few days off. Some nurses might be having only 2 days off in a week. You're working 5 straight days while you have only 2 days off. But an NHS nurse is working 3 days, but they have got 4 days off. And with these 4 days off, you can go for your bank shifts. You remember? You can go for your bank shifts and make money. So at the end of the month, when you look at both of these two nurses,
Yeah.
both of them have
And
almost even the NHS nurse
Yeah.
has passed the care home nurse, because if they utilize the 4 days off very well, they can do bank shifts
and make more money.
They can even, with the 2,500, for example, after within a month, 2,500, they can make another 2,500, pocketing 5,000 pounds per month.
So I would like to use yourself as an example, like give them a typical estimate of what you earned and like what you want as a nurse in NHS, and then when you went for your agency shift, if you combine both your monies at the end of the month, how much would you have made?
So if I'm earning tentatively or averagely 2,000, let's say 2,500, that is about band 5. There's a middle band 5. There's an entry, middle, and then senior band 5. Senior can go up to 2,800 per month. And they reviewed our pay scale, and they were now paying, before I left, they were paying us as senior band 5. That is about 2,800. 2,700, 2,800 to 3,000. Again, depending on the tax, there's a lot of taxation going on. So you can pocket about 2,800 per month as a nurse. Then when you utilize these other days when you're off, I could make up to another 2,000. That makes you get pocket 4,800.
Yes.
But this again depends on how much you push yourself when you are off.
Yes.
So you can pocket 4,500 to 5,000. There are some nurses
yes.
who can even pocket up to 5,200.
Yes, easily.
So per month, that is 5,000 or 4,800 to 5,000 pounds as an NHS nurse.
Yes.
Care home nurse, you can as well be on the same rates, maybe 3,800 to 4,000.
Yes.
Yeah, per month.
And the problem is I'm not a nurse, so I would say according to the experiences of other people and how I would hear people talk and conversing is the problem that people find when working in care homes is the time, balancing the time, because they work long hours too and they work 4 days, and the problem is their workload is a lot. So you find yourself, you're working 4 days, as much as you have like 2 days to rest, you're so tired those 2 days, you find it difficult to go and do extra shifts. So you just find yourself depending on your one job. There are people definitely that they push themselves to go work, but then again, you've had in the UK cases of where people, like people just are walking on the street and they fall down because of fatigue. That's another problem.
There are so many cases. When we are coming from Kenya, of course, we are coming from Kenya where we have been suffering. In terms of we have
pay.
not had jobs. Others have been jobless.
Yes.
We have so many nurses that have been jobless in Kenya. They have been tamarking for the longest time. They have been suffering. Others who are employed have not been paid, especially by the government, county governments. They have not been paid for several months. These nurses are willing to work. They are very hardworking.
Yes.
And they are willing to work extra hard. So when they come to the UK, they find an environment where you are paid
for your work.
They will push themselves. You find a nurse working for almost 7 days in a week.
I'm telling you. Hey.
They sleep in during a shift.
Car, yeah.
Then not even in a car, during a shift. They cannot sleep in a car.
No, like after they finish the shift, some of them, instead of going home,
they sleep in a shift.
What do you mean?
Instead of going home, they go for a night shift to do an agency shift. So what happens is, let me explain to you. You have been working the whole day in your permanent job.
Yes.
At night, instead of going home, you go for a night shift.
Wanaoga wapi hao nurses?
No, wengine utaoga kesho. So
ama unaoga huko hosi.
You can go to the toilet na uoge. Wengine hata walikuwa wanaogea kwa choo. So you go to a night shift in a care home because all the residents are sleeping. So it is easy also wewe kudoze.
Huko unaibia.
Una elevate. They call it to elevate. So you elevate, but you are very keen in case something happens.
Yeah, because
then
they always come for spot checks.
Then in the morning you go home. When you go home, in the evening you start by doing a night shift, bank shift, agency shift. then that evening you have done an agency shift, in the morning you go for your permanent job. Then after, you don't go home after your permanent job, you go back to the night shift.
Watu wanafanya kazi watu guys, and
So
that's why I say this, sorry to cut you short.
You are doing back to back shifts because you are making money. And this, what we are continuing to learn is there is no balance between work life balance. So,
and that's why and that's why I like this just popped in my mind, and I thought it's good for me to put this outside there, because people back at home, they don't know what people are going through to make that type of money. Like, yes, people are making money, but you find people are literally putting their life on the edge for them to earn that type of money, because expectation, pia watu wa nyumbani, people back at home, they have wamekuwekea expectation, wanakurunda hivi na nataka pesa, but people don't know that mtu mwenye anakutumia pesa aliona kwake 3 weeks ago, hata hajaifika kwa nyumba, anaendanga job, anatoka job moja akienda job ingine, anatoka job moja akienda job ingine, anapitia mahali anaoga, hata anaoga shift. Wengine hata waliregister gym kwa sababu ya kuoga. Mtu anapitia kwa gym, anaogea gym, anaenda job. Kuna watu wenye wanaishi kwa gari zao. By this I mean, unapata uniform, uko na uniform yako ya job kwa gari, uko na uniform ya care home kwa gari, uko na uniform yako ya nyumbani kwa gari. So wewe tu you just change. Kama ni kukula, unachukua takeaway huko kwa fast food. You know, that's how people survive back there. So if you see somebody giving you their money, just know the best you can do is appreciate, and also be patient with them, because when they tell you they do not have money, genuinely they don't have money, and even if they have money, probably they have something they're doing with it. You know, the pressure, your black tax imekuwa too much saa ingine.
That is true, but remember, these people have had relatives back home. Others are sick. They have sick relatives.
I know.
Sick mothers, sick fathers, sick brothers and sisters. They have left their siblings. They're the only ones who have the potential to pay for school fees for these children.
But patience, they have left.
No, a sick person cannot be patient.
Listen,
they will die.
Sawa. In the case,
they will die.
You know very well that umesikia cases that in the UK where people like the same people that are working like this, mtu anafanya kazi anaanguka ni brain hemorrhage, kwa sababu unajua, kwa sababu ya kufanya kazi, like value iko wapi? Mtu mwenye mnapea pressure ya kufanya kazi, akianguka pia yeye mtapata mtu mwingine wa kuwalipia school fees, hamtapata. So they need to have that balance.
Comment down there at the comment section, what do you think as a viewer of this particular narrative? Do you think that there should be a balance between minding about the family where you are coming from? Remember, these are the family that has supported you.
But they do not know
these
what
are the
you're
family
going
that
through.
has paid your school fees. These are the family that has been with you through thick and thin. So when you get to the UK and you're working, don't block them. Don't
come.
I'm not. When I'm saying it's not literally that you are blocking them, but you're ignoring. Wengine wanachukua simu ile ulikuja nayo kutoka Kenya, kabambe ama simu ndogo, wanaweka kwa bag ikuwa ni hiyo Safaricom. Alafu wanachukua 3 ama Vodafone ama whatever line, wanaweka kwa simu yao mpya umechukua mpya. Alafu hiyo nyingine inapigwa paka inazima, na hata wataiangalia once in a month paka inakufa. That is what you are saying. People wanakutafuta kwa Safaricom hawakupati. Wanakuuliza kwani ulipoteza namba yako ama ulifanyia nini? That's the question. What happened to you? Wanakutafuta kwa Facebook. Wanakupata kwa Facebook. Wanakupata kwa email address yako.
We are busy. We are
that is the question. What are we saying? What we are saying is when you are going to be working in the UK, remember the hand that fed you.
Yes, but also work-life balance.
But also remember that you have got your life to live.
Them. Yeah.
They don't understand what pressure is because they know.
That's why we are making this video, so that they understand.
Exactly. That's what they're saying, that they are expecting you to help them. Picture someone in Kenya.
Huwezi hata muexplainia hata elewa.
Someone in Kenya, you are abroad and bado unalia ati hauna pesa.
Rudi nyumbani.
Kenya wanalia, people are crying, hauna do. Ukifika UK, you are crying as well. What is happening? That's the question. What I'm trying to say is that usimalize pesa yako kuwafurahisha. But if it is a genuine thing.
Yes,
Support them.
Absolutely.
If it's a disease, help them. But there
But
there
not
be a
also just
balance.
and also to the people that are in abroad, I encourage people, as much as you're sending money back home, invest in yourself. Because at the end of the day, these are the same people that when you go back home after 10, 20, 30 years, watasema ulienda ng'ambo miaka 10, umerudi nyumbani, hakuna kitu umefanya, afadhali ungekaa huku. The same people that you are helping. So you have to have that balance. You need to invest in yourself. You need to make a difference.
That's
People,
why I'm saying,
when you
there
go
be
back
balance.
home, there should be a difference between you mwenye uko abroad na mtu mwenye uliacha huko, so that inakuwa pia isikuwe ni kama unajua, because also whatever you do back here is also an encouragement to somebody that is back at home.
That's why we are saying that let there be a balance. Kitu ya kwanza, when you're coming from Kenya, money is not found on trees.
Hakuna.
You must work.
Pesa ya mzungu si rahisi kupata.
For your money, you must work. Every coin,
you sweat.
Every coin,
hey,
these nurses or these people living abroad have accumulated. They have worked. Money has not been given to them as grants or gifts.
Unajua?
People have worked. I want to emphasize this for the viewers.
Yes, absolutely.
Let me emphasize this.
Go
for
ahead,
the viewers.
please.
Because our viewers don't know.
Unajua nimekumbuka nini?
Wait first, let me emphasize.
Unajua nimekumbuka
our viewers.
Unajua nimekumbuka nini? As much like as you're saying that, I'm just adding on to your point. Ndio usisitize zaidi. As unatafuta hiyo pesa, clients wengine wamekutusi.
Of course, that is the nature of work. That is the nature of work.
Umetusiwa huko.
That is the nature of work. So when you are getting ready to come and work in the UK, there are so many opportunities.
Yeah.
For a fact. There are so many opportunities to grow professionally.
Yeah.
There are so many opportunities for you to upscale. There are so many opportunities for you to climb higher in terms of your career. Because you'll find courses that are offered, master's program, undergraduate program, and all these other programs.
Yes.
Jobs are many, especially when you land in the UK and you're not comfortable with that job, you can always look for another job.
For dependents.
There are very many jobs for dependents, as well as there are so many jobs for the nurses.
But also remember, there's a restriction.
There are restrictions.
Nurses.
I'm talking about nursing jobs.
Oh, nursing jobs.
There are so many nursing jobs. And remember, again, you can work in England, you can work in Scotland, you can work in North Ireland, you can work in Wales. There are so many opportunities for you. Having said that, it is not a walk in the park. But comparing with the situation in Kenya, instead of tamaking, instead of suffering, instead of always being the one that you are walking on the streets with your small bag from one door to another, ukipeana certificates zako, you have been suffering, you have been cursing. Unaona? It is better to come to the UK and work as a nurse. Again, the government, tumeona serikali ya Kenya, tumeiona
inatusaidia.
Serikali ya Kenya inasema
encourage watu watoke.
Tokeni.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
we are looking for jobs.
Come guys.
The government, and it is very good for the government to do this.
Yes.
Wants people to go away from the
why
country.
Why not?
They are not saying that it is a big risk that wale watabaki watakuwa they will be taken care by nani.
Kakujeni tufanye kazi.
And it is good that the government is ready.
And it's encouraging people to get out. So well done.
And they've been sponsoring students on the university funding model, which I don't know what is happening right now, but they used to fund education for the nurses. Wanakufunza. They take you to school. They pay your school fees. You understand? They pay your school fees for you to work abroad. How cool is that? And that's what I'm saying. Let the nurses utilize this opportunity.
Yeah.
You are not needed in Kenya. The way they treat you.
Come on, you are needed, but
by the government. I want you to see this in a very questionable way. The government, by not employing you, by not paying you on time, like now kunaona watu wanalia for the last 4 months hawajalipwa hata 1 shilling, na kuna madeni na kuna rent. All these signs zinakuambia wewe kama nurse Kenya, go away.
Go.
Akufukuzaye akwambii fanya nini, toka, but you will see the signs. And these signs are clear on your face. wewe mwenyewe ukiamua kukaa na kuteseka, don't complain, because the government has told you go away from this country. Now there is an NCLEX center in Nairobi, where now US nurses will do the exams in Nairobi, and then from Nairobi then they will fly
hakuna kwenda South Africa
abroad.
tena.
So let the nurses in Kenya, even we are speaking to those who are studying,
hata wa Australia wakuje,
those who are studying wajue kazi yao sio Kenya. You understand?
Come on.
Yeah, that's it. Because ukiamua kukaa Kenya kama msamaria mwema, ukiamua kukaa kama msamaria mwema,
utaumia.
There are guys who are there to hit your head until usikie kama unapasuka. Unaona?
Okay. Something else is about the PIN. Ujambia watu kuhusu PIN.
So when you are registered nurse in the UK, you are given a unique PIN. That is the NMC PIN. Like the license number, NCK license number. This is your identifier. This is what identifies you. You understand? This unique PIN is what you protect with all your life. Because once you lose this PIN, then it means you have lost your registration to practice in the UK.
Tell us the challenges that nurses go through to protect that
challenge
PIN. Ama what can you do to lose that? Ni nini unaweza fanya kama nurse usikie PIN yako imeenda na unaambiwa urudi nyumbani?
There are so many things. There are so many
Give
things
us the
that don't.
examples. Yes.
There are so many things. Malpractice. For example, ukiangalia cases za nurses that have been struck off from the list, you'll see that one nurse, for example, took a phone number from a patient who is a female, and this was a male nurse, and they started chatting even when the patient had gone home. Hi, how are you? Hey, you are so beautiful. Nalikuwa mzungu na huyu ni Mwafrika. Hey, are you okay now? Ulipona? Can we hang out? Actually, I've been thinking of visiting a beach to swim and to enjoy myself. Can you join me? They started befriending a patient.
Alikuwa wa NHS ama wa
I think they were NHS. Then, I don't know how it leaked that the information. No, they took photos. They took photos in the beach with the patient. Post Facebook kama status kwa Facebook, and you know there is a code of conduct that you're not supposed to be. Yeah. You're not supposed to be taking such kind of photos,
especially with a client. Hey.
Yeah, so they are taking photos, hanging out with the patient.
But lakini si alikuwa ameangukia.
There's nothing like that. So because you're not supposed
but it is
to do that.
Was it outside work?
Regardless. Ni kama unavaa uniform huko kwa unapiga picha na uniform yako na badge yako na pale unafanya kazi na kila kitu.
Utafanya?
You are taking photos and posting on social media. That is breach of conduct. Unaona, there are set rules. There are set laws that you're not supposed to be doing. Privacy, data protection, all these things. So when you break some of these rules, what happens to you? You are summoned. You are, if the case goes on until when you are found guilty, then what happens to you? You are struck off or given punishment for some number of months.
Punishment?
You are disciplined. That's the correct
by the
word.
Hospital?
No, by the NMC.
By the NMC?
Nursing and Midwifery Council. The one that accorded you that registration, they're the ones who are now able to take that registration off or to punish you for 4 years or 3 years or 6 months without practice. Unaona? Those are disciplinary measures. And there are so many things that can take you. There are so many things that can take you to such court. So that's why you hear when you're going to work there to protect your PIN. So you're always
from the
working.
word go.
You're always working. And people will now tell you, please behave. Please behave. Otherwise, we're going to report you. Patients can always report you. They've got avenues where they can report you. If they're not happy with your service, they can report you. But that does not mean that every case that goes ahead, itamaanisha your PIN will be struck off. No. There are so many things. And remember, there's a union. which normally these unions, you normally fight for the nurses. In
Their
case you have
rights.
you have a case, ask your union to represent you, they will come and defend you. So that is the advantage. So need to be careful. The way we have been practicing in Kenya is not the same way we practice in the UK. In Kenya, there's a lot of
Mal
not malpractice but
kuibia.
ulegevu.
Tuseme
Ulegevu.
kuibia. Kuna
Ulegevu.
kuibia mingi.
Ulegevu. Ulegevu is the right word.
Actually, that is what I
like
wanted
that,
to ask you.
I don't know, like that. There's ulegevu mwingi. Ulegevu in a sense that we are routine. This is not a big deal. Unaona? We are used to ulegevu, cheap or not so serious.
So on that note, how would you compare the standard of care in the UK na back at home?
The standard of care, of course, you remember UK is a first world country. So they are very keen, at least to some extent, with how they manage their patients. They are very keen in terms of the procedures. They are very keen in terms of if you don't know something, you better ask. They will support you. At least there's some confidentiality, there's professionalism.
Even how you talk to patients.
There is professionalism. You see, as you're rendering this care, there's a form of professionalism. In Kenya, I think this professionalism is only left in private hospitals. But most of the public hospitals, hizo za mashinani, hiyo kitu iliisha kitambo. People are doing whatever they want. Unaona, they are improvising. There's a lot of to improvise kwa sababu hatuna hii, tunatumia hii. Unaona? But in the UK, there is abundance or there is adequate equipment and materials to use for practice.
I just remembered when you guys were starting back in the UK, back in Kenya, simulikuwa mnadunga IV. How long did it take for you guys to start doing IVs?
So when you are doing IVs, then you have to be supervised for a long time. It does not matter how many years of experience you have. You may have 10 years of experience, but when you come to some of these hospitals in the UK, you must be supervised. You must do an exam. If, for example, you're going to do an IV, kufanya IV medication, you must do an exam, a theory exam. You must have a logbook where you'll be signed off. You'll work under supervision until you are signed off. Then you'll start doing the IVs.
Can you imagine?
Unaona?
Wako thara.
They are thorough. And when you're doing IVs, you cannot do one person. You'll do two people because you need two checks. You need someone to counter check if it is the right medication that you are giving. Is it the right time, the 5 rights of medication? So they'll need to counter check with you. I don't remember seeing that in Kenya. Those hospitals that I was doing, unachukua tu dawa, unaitengeneza na unapatia mgonjwa. For the controlled drugs, they are very, very strict. Unaona?
Huwezi hepa na madawa hivyo hivyo.
No, like something like tramadol is a restricted drug. It is a controlled drug in the UK. In Kenya, you can buy it in a pharmacy. Unaona? You go to the pharmacy and buy pregabalin, you buy gabapentin. These are controlled drugs in the UK. Unaona? So the professionalism of rendering care is high. Despite of the fact that they have NHS which is crumbling down, it is overburdened, but there is intentional in terms of delivering care. You are in safe hands. When you come to the hospital, people who are looking after you, they are professionals.
They've been trained for that.
You can question. You are given information from the beginning to the end. You can report if you're not happy with the service, with the service that rendered to you. You can report. You can ask for more information. You can question. You can say no to this particular management and ask for alternatives. Unaona? You have unique. You don't share beds. In Kenya, you'll find some of these hospitals, 2 patients sharing a bed. Moja anaangalia hii side, mwingine anaangalia hii side ingine. Na vitanda zao zimetengenezwa na metals. Naka kama how do you call it? Kama meza. Just like a table, inakaa kama meza imeekelewa ka
Safe
cushion.
check.
I'm sorry to inakaa kama meza na no, this is the truth. This is the truth. I'm not making fun. Lakini inakaa kama meza ni vile ni kitanda iko hivi straight. Hata sikukumbuki kama kulikuwa hata na pillows ama nini. Hakunanga vitu kama hizo. Nakashuka na blanketi. Unaona? Lakini you'll find in most of these hospitals mtu ana kichwa iko hii side, miguu iko hii side, mtu mwingine sasa kichwa iko hii side, kichwa iko hii side, miguu iko hii side. So you are sharing a bed. Wengine hata wanalala chini kwa floor. You are taking care of patients, wengine wako kwa floor.
Kenya, we need to upgrade.
Can you imagine?
That's our number.
On the floor kwa hospitali. On the floor. The management is very poor.
Where is duty of care?
The management is very
duty
poor.
Of care?
Sembuse chakula, unaona, and all these other services. Madawa wakati mwingine mnakosa particular medicine. So naambia the relatives, can you go and look for this medication? Go and buy an IV medication from the pharmacy and bring it. Alafu sisi tufanya nini? Tutakudunga. So when you're coming from such an environment to
shock.
A standard environment, and this is where our people must understand. There's a lot of training that must happen. Kwa sababu kuna ukora mwingi tumezoea kuona.
Na baadhi mtu anaweza pewa kakitu huko na patient.
Scoring. In English we call that scoring in the hospitals. Wanakuscore.
You score patients.
You scored. Because you're not paid. You have not been paid. Don't laugh. This habit, when you come to the UK with this habit of scoring, you need to have a training that will prepare your mind.
Patient.
In the UK? No, you cannot.
Why?
No, you cannot.
Hata
una hiyo mawazo ya ukora.
Una
hiyo mawazo ya ukora. Kwanza ukionekana ukipewa pesa. You need to take that money. After you have taken that money umepewa na patient, you have really worked well. Hey, I want to appreciate you. Come, David, let me appreciate you. So unapata huyu relative ama huyu patient anakupea do, you need to carry, kwa sababu kuna cameras, you never know which camera imekuchukua. You need to take that money. Kama tujaweka kwa mfuko, usiweke kwa mfuko. Thank you so much. Unabeba ikiwa hivi, kama inaonekana tu in the open, unapeleka manager kabla afunge aende nyumbani. Manager, this money has been given to us by so and so, and it has been given for all the nurses, and is appreciating all the nurses for the good work that has been done.
Nijifiche huko niweke pesa yangu kwa mfuko.
Then ukiwa na hiyo mind, you not go far. That mind ya ukora, because hiyo ni mind ya ukora. Ulikuja nayo kutoka Kenya. Ulikuja na hiyo mind kutoka Kenya ya ukora. It is going to be disciplined mpaka hiyo tabia itoke.
Tabia mbaya hiyo.
Kuna watu wanapatanga pesa, kuna watu wanapatanga pesa. It is illegal. It is illegal. Kuna watu wanapatanga pesa wanaweka kwa mfuko na washikwi, but siku moja utashikwa, because these people have got cameras. They have put cameras strategically, again for security purposes. Unaona? So you don't know what is going to happen to you. Ukishikwa kwa kamera ukiweka pesa kwa mfuko.
Imagine 20 pounds ifanye ukwe deported home.
You'll be summoned. Hakuna form of corruption. They try their best to fight corruption. So unatoka Kenya, umezoea kuscore patient. Unaambia patient, wewe nipatie kitu kidogo. Nitakuprioritize. Nitakuwa nakutafutia dawa kwanza, kama ni dressing nitakuwa nakufanyia dressing wa kwanza kabla niende kwa watu wengine. Hata wakikosa hakuna shida, but for you I will make sure that umekuwa sorted. Unaona? I will prioritize you and I'll give information to your relatives. Nataka niongee na relatives wako, nipatie simu niongee na wao. So I want to care for you kama I am one to one.
Mmeangusha duty of care.
But umeweka nini kwa mfuko?
Umeweka
dhao 2 ama dhao 3 kwa mfuko. That is scoring.
Na workload, what about workload?
So unapata patient in Kenya anakuwa scored, ni mgonjwa. But on top of kuwa mgonjwa anakuwa scored na our health workers. If you don't score the patient, clinic officer atakuja mscore.
So you might as well just
mtu wa lab ataenda kwa lab aseme hata vipimo unataka kunifanyia kipimo haraka itoke. Patie 500 sahi. So mtu wa lab anataka kumscore. Mtu wa pharmacy kwa dawa. Mtu wa pharmacy kwa dawa pia anataka kumscore. So unapata ni system ya wakora. Unaona? And when you
Na
come to some of these
sikupenda.
countries, when you come to some of these countries, that mentality must be eliminated.
Otherwise,
That mentality ya ukora must be taken off the system. Lazima uoshwe, mawazo yako isafishwe to understand that hapa hakuna ukora, there is no scoring. You work
for your money.
and be reminded that everything that you are doing, you don't know who is watching you.
Hata patients wenyewe wataenda kusema
Number two,
I gave David 20 pounds.
Of course, hata akitoka tu kwa mlango utasikia akiambia
Thank
manager.
you so much. Thank you so much, David.
Umeweka pesa kwa mfuko,
Thank you
hata
so
uko kwa
much,
choo
David.
wanakutafuta wakupati. Umeenda kwa choo, unasikia
Ring
patient,
bell.
the same patient akisema akitoka kwa mlango, patient anatoka kwa mlango. Hey guys, I've even given 20 pounds to David because of the work he is doing.
Manager ana smile tu hapo.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you so much. Anakuita iko wapi ile 20 pounds?
Later ni ya tea ya staff.
So these habits, and it is the system in Kenya. These habits zitaisha polepole. Zitaisha polepole, but make sure that whatever you don't know, you are asking. Number 2, don't know who is watching. Remember, you're dealing with whites. Hawa ni wazungu.
Hawajui ukora kama hii yetu.
Hawa ni wazungu na kuna vile wanaangalia Waafrika black because of our skin as well. We are always disadvantaged because of our skin. So you don't want to be in a position or in a state where you are compromised, where you are disadvantaged.
Because they already have a notion.
They just need you to prove. Wakikushika
it's true, sir.
What we were thinking has been confirmed. So have this in mind. When you're coming to work in the UK, there are so many opportunities. But if you don't know something, always be on the lookout to us, and they're ready to help you.
And they love being asked questions.
They love being asked because they know you're coming from a different community, different setting, different nursing care. You have come to this particular facility. They want to support you so that you can be able to render better service.
Safety first.
To be safe to your patients. So the nursing profession, and I would advise and encourage as many nurses in Kenya as possible, that if you want to grow professionally, be on the lookout for these opportunities. Be on the lookout. If you're a student, if you're struggling to complete your nursing program, be on the lookout for these programs. The UK has been offering opportunities. It is still opened for opportunities. If you're struggling to get a job, once again, be on the lookout on track jobs.
Total jobs.
Look out for total jobs. Prioritize nursing homes because nursing homes have always been on the lookout for nurses, and they are always short-staffed.
And I would say this. Despite what we've said that there are challenges working in a nursing home or rather a care home, you'd rather, unajua tunasema kufika ndio important. Once you've gotten to the UK, you can always change, guys. You can always change. So the most important thing is to get yourself inside the country. Once you're inside the country, you can change to another career. You can change, go to the, and work with the government. So, usiogope. Don't be scared.
Exactly. And then something else, just remind the viewers which program this is and where we are at the moment.
Yes, guys, you are on Neema Quest, and this show is On the Mic with Marion. I am the host. I'm going to be bringing in guests, guys. This episode is episode 2 of our journey from Kenya to the UK, and we're also going to be doing our journey to Australia. We are going to be doing few episodes of the UK because UK iko na mambo mingi. We are just starting base right now, and our focus right now is we are talking of the experiences or what nurses should expect when they come to the UK. Something else on that note is people don't know that patients in the UK, when you get sick in the UK, when you go to the hospital, do you pay money? Is it free?
Thank you so much. Once again, my name is David Munene. I am a nurse by profession. going to 6 years of nursing experience. I have experience in different fields. I have worked as a private administrator. That means I have started and run my own facility in Kenya as a nurse. I have also worked in government hospital back in Kenya. I also have experience working in cardiothoracic nurse back in the UK. And then currently I'm working in Australia, still as a registered nurse.
Now you are a licensed nurse in how many countries
I
again?
am licensed nurse. I can as well work in New Zealand because I've got registration for New Zealand. My registration is still active in the UK. I can as well work in the UK.
Active. Yeah. Important.
And then my Kenyan license is also active, and my Australian license is active.
Yeah.
Having said that,
and also
having said that, I'm also currently I've been running as an administrator for Umoja Nurses. This is a platform which has been helping many nurses come from Kenya to the UK
with information.
Many nurses as well as many care homes have been in touch with me in one or the other. Many are saying, we don't know you. We don't know whom we are dealing with. We can't put a face on the words or the person. It is me that I have been talking to you. You have been texting me. You have been calling me for questions. We have run IELTS program, successful IELTS program, training nurses to get them ready for the English exam. We have also gone ahead to train nurses for the CBT exam, NMC CBT.
Yes, NMC.
We have been writing CVs. We have written to so many nurses and care assistants. Very many nurses have benefited from our CVs. And then we have also been providing information. How are we relocating? What should we do at different stages? And we are happy to note that now we are condensing that information and providing it on Neema Quest. Lazima utatulipa because we are big guys. Sisi we tumetafutwa by media wanatutafuta to make a lot of information. Having said that, that is for another day. Having said that, we are in the UK already in terms of now sharing information. UK is a beautiful country. It is beautiful. It is a wonderful country. It is. You will get money. At the same time, would be depending on where you are living. If you are living in London, most of that money will also be spent on expenses as a nurse.
That one to take up part 3.
Yeah, so we are going to tell you that when you are coming to the UK, remember that these are smaller houses. That's what we are going to tell people.
There is so much
smaller houses, there's a lot of traffic, watu ni wengi sana wamejaa UK.
Depending on where you live.
Mvua inanyesha kama saizi kuna baridi kali. Temperatures can go up to -2, black clouds.
3.
It is raining. People are quiet. Watu wataki kuongea sana during the rainy season, during the winter. Winter can be very crazy if you're not used to winter. Nunua majaketi yako, nunua viatu zako. Most of the time you'll be spending in your closed doors. That is something that people don't know, that most of the time you'll be spending in your closed doors. Transport is very good in London because you've got buses, you've got we're gonna, but I just nataka kuwaonjesha. That's what we're going to be discussing.
Usionjeshe sana, imetosha.
Exactly.
Hujatujibu hadi swali yetu. We asked your question, to divert kidogo.
Come again with your question.
I asked, back in the UK, it's important for people to know that do patients pay money? Is it free?
Thank you for that question.
Then we can wind up this session.
When you come to the UK, NHS is free, especially for those nurses that have paid health surcharge, or they are permanent residents or indefinite leave to remain, or they have gone to the UK with visas, work visa, especially the skilled tier 2 visas. Students, unless you're a visitor, then you'll be asked to pay for your health services. But for all these people, it is free. What does that mean? You will call an ambulance to come and pick you up, to come and pick your patient from home. That particular patient will be treated, they will not pay for the ambulance. They will be treated for free. And then this ambulance might bring that patient back home. Or they might get a taxi.
Organized transport.
They can organize transport to take you back home. So you'll come back home with medication or medicine that you have been given for free. Operations are free. Surgical operations, they are free. Can you imagine?
For example, heart.
Open heart surgeries are free.
Kidney.
Those kind of transplant, they are free. Can you imagine? The healthcare, even if now it is crumbling and it is coming down on its knees, but
why do you keep saying that?
Because that is the reality. NHS is on its knees.
Overload.
You understand? The government cannot be able to sustain this particular service. Because there are so many people that have come to that country. Most of these people have gone there as asylum seekers. They are not working.
And so also the wenyeji, most of them also don't work.
And then there's a small number of people, a population that is working to sustain this mass or this big population of people that are not working. So they are overburdened, they are overstretched. So the consequences are you cannot be able to get quality services. Number two, there are so many people waiting for those services. The waiting lists are very long. People tend even to die at home while waiting for operations because the lists are very long.
Even when you go, like for example,
GP, you cannot get a GP.
Even like when you've gotten an emergency and you go to the E&E, the emergency
ED. It's called emergency department.
I once took my patient to ED. Tulika huko, my friend. Usiku 24, we finished
because
the
you're
whole
waiting.
Day. Yeah,
of course, you're
because
waiting.
mmengoja. Alafu pia it's gotten to a point where because in the UK they won't allow their patients eti walale kwa corridor ama walale kwa floor kama back home. No. So you find that hakuna beds zimeja, so they are looking for spaces in other hospitals, especially, and they like with treatment is priority, so they will treat you according to the priority or the severity of the case. So unapata wewe hata kama mguu yako ilikuwa imevunjika hapo ama mimi mwenye nilikuwa nafanya kwa mental health na labda patient wako amerelapse, it does not matter kama anapiga nduru huko ama anafanya vitu kwa anafanya.
Exactly.
They will deal with priority. Kama ni cardiac ameingia, cardiac atapewa priority kwanza. Wewe wa mguu na whatever, they have to, and you cannot blame them because the system is overwhelmed.
That is very true. So having said all these things,
yes, we need to come
it
to
is still important for a nurse in Kenya to consider going to the UK and working there because you will get value for your money. You'll be able to do projects. Utapata do, pesa nayo utapata. Kama ulikuwa unataka kununua kashamba, you'll be able to do that. You'll do projects. You will live with your family. Your family will be comfortable per se. And also you will be able to do projects within a shorter period of time as compared to kama ungebaki Kenya. A nurse working in the UK, for example, within 10 years, zile vitu watakuwa accomplish, and you compare the nurse working in Kenya, zile vitu watakuwa accomplish in 10 years, there is a big difference, especially with the nurses who know what they want to achieve.
Yeah.
A nurse who knows their value, a nurse who knows what they want in life, with the proper planning, they will be able to achieve many things. Last but not least, when you come to the UK, your visa allows you to fly back home whenever and wherever, depending on your annual leaves as given to you by your employer. So you can always fly back home, visit your family, and it is only 9 hours to Kenya, which is a shorter flight. Having said that, thank you so much for hosting and for this particular information. We are all asking you to watch out for part 3. That's when now we are going to dive into
other things,
into how did we find life
In the UK.
in the UK?
Yes, guys.
What about cars? What about houses? What about the expenses? You understand? You are getting this money. What about the expenses?
How do you break
We are
it
now
down?
going to take you through how we were able to get through the expenses.
How we're able to invest and all those
Ilona,
things.
how are we able to, if you have kids, how are
do
you going to balance?
to navigate through
How are you
that?
going to balance between
But it's possible.
taking care of these kids at the same time, doing projects at the same time, working? So watch out for part 3. Thank you for this particular show.
You're welcome. So thank you so much for giving us all that information. We are really thankful. And for nurses, I hope that you are motivated. I hope that you are encouraged. And my message to you is do not give up. It is possible. If you want to move out of the country, if you feel like it is not working for you, absolutely. UK worked for us, and it did serve us, and it did give us good things while we were there. So it was all worth it. We loved it. We can always go back there if we have to, or if we want to, because it is a good country. You have nothing to lose at the end of the day. And guys, this is where I come to the end of this episode for today. Please make sure to subscribe, like, share, and comment down below, guys. Let us interact. Let us, tell us what you want to hear about UK. Give us, your questions. Let us interact so that we can also continue growing this channel and get to 1,000 subscribers. Without further ado, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video, and adios.